Hey everybody, it's Pax. Today we're starting up the campaign play-along for the Circle Undone. I'm a few days late. It's been a busy week. I had a few weeks off work from COVID with my kids at home. I'm feeling quite a lot better now, and more importantly, I'm finished up my Winifred campaign. I've got my first league game in for that, and so we're getting started on the Circle Undone campaign play-along today. I gave a quick rundown of what the campaign play-along is in a recent video, so I'm not going to belabor that point again. But more specifically, I'm going to be playing Return to the Circle Undone. And that's going to go on for the next 2 months. Ideally, one game a week. Might be a little slower. Might be a little quicker. Hard to say. Depends on my spare time. But anyways. Beyond that, there's the shared community tarot deck reading that we're all using together for the purpose of the campaign play-along. I'll get into that. But first, let's take a look at the deck list for my investigators I've chosen. Trish and Diana. So I'm not playing with Taboo this time around. Reason being is I was having a really hard time building deck lists with this card pool, and I haven't played Mr. Rook in a while at all because of Taboo. I've played him in Mandy, but I haven't played him in anyone else because of the Taboo. And so I just thought, you know what? I'm just gonna play Trish. She should be pretty cool at the Return to Circle Undone stuff that I'm aware of, and I really wanted to use the Hawkeye folding cameras as well. Mostly as like a circle test tech thing, but also just like I've never played them. I've seen other people play them, and I know they're good, but I've never played them. And I thought that Trish might be a good place. Trish in TCU in particular might be a good place to try them out. So, excuse me. I've still got Hawkeye folding camera, 2 magnifying glasses just to get that bonus if you don't get the cameras early enough. Lucky cigarette cases for draw. The draw is really important to be able to clear your shadow agents. Lab assistants for draw, Mr. Rook for draw. Tons of money. Burning the Midnight Oil, Crack the Case, Cryptic Writings. I'm intending for this eventually to turn into a well-connected deck, to have big cash. So that these will kind of enable that a bit. In the shadows, you kind of come with Intel Report, a good way to dump all this money in level 0. Money Talks. Not sure about this include. I'm pretty sure that these are going to be turning into the well-connecteds, and I might regret having these in here instead of the well-connected itself, but I guess we'll see. Working Hunch, Fast Clues, Fine, Deductions, Manual Dexterities, Nimbles, Perceptions. To me, this is like the kind of most basic Trish deck I could come up with for the card pool. And now we're looking at Diana Stanley, and I have a confession to make. I've never played Diana Stanley before. I've played her... I've never played her in a campaign. I've played her in a standalone for Blob, the first time I ever played Blob, alongside a .25 automatic Finn. And if you know anything about Blob, that was a colossal failure, and I haven't played her since. So I was a little scared to try her out here, but I thought I better get it done so that I get comfortable with it, because I just need to play her. So we'll go through the list. Let's start with the cancels. She comes with the Dark Insight. Dark Prophecies. Just a good card, in my opinion. Delay the Inevitable. Yes. Super good. Deny Existence. Yes. Super good. Dodge. Fine. Drawn to the Flame. I'm mentioning this here with the cancels because, like, this draws an encounter card, and so you kind of can get a cancel out of it. Maybe. And then the Wards of Protection. So those are the main sources of canceling. Eventually, you're going to get your, I've had worses level 2, which are in this pool. So, there you go. Ritual Candles in one hand, Twilight Blade in the other. Ritual Candles is just, like, fine. The skulls and the either tablets or elder things can be pretty tame in this campaign. So, they're fine. 2 Azure Flames, 2 Clairvoyance, 1 Shriveling, 1 Sixth Sense. She's really going, like, fully flexible in this here. I figure going flexible with her, but trying to focus on killing, will complement Trish being flexible with, like, the secondary evasion. And you need to be self-sufficient in the first scenario, so fine. Holy Rosaries, Arcane Initiates, Enchanted Blades. Enchanted Blades is a bit of a backup. Again, I'm going a bit fightier with her than Cluey. So 2 Flames, 1 Shriveling, 2 Enchanted Blades. Fine. Fearless. I have the Fearless in there mostly because of Clairvoyance. And I intend to level these up. So between Ward of Protection and Clairvoyances, the Fearless can be pretty handy. 2 Guts, 2 Overpower, 2 Steadfast. Guts, Overpower, and Steadfast is all kind of working towards that combat thing going on. And I didn't talk about the basic weakness in Trish. but Diana managed to pull Obsessive, which is a bit of a pain. It's a very slow card, but I don't know. I guess it could be worse. And just to go back to Trish for her weakness, she did get damned, which is going to be a pain in the ass on top of the tarot readings that go on with this campaign. But, I mean, we'll see what happens. Okay, and let's take a look at the tarot reading. So, there was Hierophant, the Sun, the Tower, Temperance, Strength, the Empress, Judgment, and the World. Now, I'm going to go with Hierophant, face up, for the first scenario. I think that getting that +1 willpower, with how much XP is on the line in scenario 1, I cannot deal with the -1 willpower. Between Trish and Diana, they could just get way too bogged down, and I don't want Diana to need to be fighting even harder on scenario 1. The Sun I'm flipping. During each investigator's first turn, they have 2 fewer actions to take. The Mansion doesn't scare me too much. I don't care about saving the people in from the prologue. I've never had a problem with like action setup in there. Maybe it'll be an issue, but with Dark Insight, I imagine like if I'm losing too much Doom to monsters, I can just cancel one of them, can't I? I think Dark Sight cancels monsters. I don't know. We'll see. The Tower I'm keeping face up. I don't want more basic weaknesses for the secret name. That sounds like a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. Temperance, I'm getting +1 sanity. I don't want less sanity for the Wages of Sin. That sounds like a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. Strength. This one's pretty much only face up because I felt like I could deal with the rest of them being face down. When the game begins, each investigator may play an asset at from their hand at -2 cost. They both got good assets to play at -2 cost. It'll just be a nice head start to the greater good, and that will kind of let me rocket forward into having these ones be set up as well. So the Empress -1 agility, that could be a problem. I'm willing to admit this could be a problem. If you just get the circle tests that suck with agility, like if you get all of the agility circle tests, like this could be a problem. But I'm willing to eat this one here to get the puzzle box out of this scenario. Judgment flipped around. Excuse me. Losing the +1 for a skull is actually advantageous if I'm upgrading into Azure Flame and Clairvoyance. So I don't mind this too much. The skulls are pretty reasonable in that scenario, and yeah, it's less damage and horror that Diana needs to take, and so it seems like a bit of a no-brainer to flip this one for me. Again, willing to find out that I'm proven wrong on this one. And finally, we got the World as the last pick, which is just like comical because this is a free flip. Being defeated during this game, suffering 1 trauma for the choice during the resolution, you lose if you get defeated here. So whatever, no biggie. All right, so that's only the beginning. We're looking at the prologue, right? You think I'm playing the prologue today? Don't be foolish. Where is this bad boy? The tarot deck, right? Campaign guide instructions. Disappearance of the Twilight Estate. You pull a tarot card for each character that you choose, and you get a different outcome. And we're doing that. And so the 2 characters that we're choosing to play with are Valentino Rivas and Pennywhite. And the tarot cards we drew for them were the Devil for Valentino, which is that Valentino Rivas was pulled into the spectral realm and 4 pieces of evidence were left behind. And Penny got the Magician, in which she disappeared into the mist and 0 pieces of evidence were left behind. Cool. Thanks, guys. And now we're looking at the intro for the Witching Hour. Fine. Are we going to accept our fate, or are we going to reject our fate? Well, there's a couple of options going on here, right? We can accept the fate. We can add the 2 tablet tokens, and someone gets a tower and an ace of rods. Oddly, I don't think that you're allowed to do the 8-card tarot reading in addition to the other 8-card tarot reading. I feel like that's just straight up not allowed. Or we could reject our fate and get the 2 Elder Things. Now, personally, I almost always reject my fate when I play this campaign, because I don't find a couple of extra -3s really screws me too badly. The Elder Things are not like strictly worse than the tablets throughout the campaign, but it certainly makes the first scenario an awful lot harder. And so I'm going to be accepting my fate, and I'm going to be getting the Tower and Ace of Rods added into Trish's deck. Really hoping I don't come to regret that decision, because the tower is like a 4-cost asset that she'll kind of be required to play if I want to commit stuff. But at the same time, Diana's deck is like big. It's kind of clunky. Again, not super familiar with Diana. I feel a lot happier putting it in Trish than Diana. So that's where it goes. And now it's just time to hop into the scenario. You guys know me. I set up the scenario in Tabletop Simulator beforehand. We don't have to read all this. This is what the map looks like for now. These are all in front of Trish connected. These are in front of Diana connected. Before we continue, before setting up each game, we're supposed to draw a random card from the tarot deck and place it in front of us in reverse position. This is the remainder of the deck. Cancel the first doom that would be placed in the final agenda of this game. Face up. The final agenda of the game enters play with 1 doom on it. Thanks, Trish. And let's also do our opening hands while we're here. 5 cards for Trish. Think we're keeping that? Maybe I mulligan the Cryptic Writings. With the Rook, it can be pretty easy to get that out of the way. Burning Midnight Oil's a heck of a lot better. Let's get that hand hidden and shuffle that away. And then for our dear girl Diana, she gets a Holy Rosary, an Overpower, a Clairvoyance, and an Azure Flame. Now, this is a rough opening hand. She will have the Dark Insight, obviously. An encounter card or a weakness. Oh yeah, but that does get rid of enemies. That's kind of nice. Okay, but suffice to say, these will not be useful until I get some cancels. This will not be useful with this Azure Flame, and this Holy Rosary is pretty good, to be honest. But I have no cancels, and I can't really deal with that, I don't think. So I think that I have to mulligan a great deal of this, and I'm going to take a think on what I need to mulligan. I think that in this case, I mulligan everything except the Rosary. The Rosary is kind of like getting a cancel, because it gives me that +1 willpower. But ultimately, I can't use any of these until I've got cancels under my belt. And I'm also mulliganing for Arcane Initiates to draw these back. So let's get rid of those 4 cards, and we'll draw 4 new. Steadfast, Azure Flame, Delay the Inevitable, Sixth Sense, and the Dark Insight. I got a cancel. It's not the best cancel. It's very good later, once you've got your blade, but right now, not the greatest. We do start each scenario, by the way, with Dark Insight in your opening hand, just straight up. A lot of people I've seen forget that in Diana. Also, when you put a cancel underneath her, you draw a card and gain a resource. I've seen a lot of people forget that in Diana too. It makes a huge difference. So, Trish is getting 3 locations because she's my Clover. Diana's getting 2 locations. We've got Temperance, which is 8 Doom threshold. Lost in the Woods. Locations in front of you are connected to one another. You cannot enter locations in front of other investigators. Objective at the end of the round. Investigators may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. 4 clues is what we're looking for. And just to check the bag, it is very, very, very friendly to us right now. Lots of -1s. Diana would be happy to punch a witch right now. It's not bad odds. Why is that floating there? Get in the right spot. And if you're not familiar with the changes from Return 2, there's a couple of encounters that's changed. You remove the Quiet Glade, which I believe is the 0 clue location from Arkham Woods. Pretty sure. And when you choose the Witch Haunting Woods, you put 2 new ones in for a total of 9 possibilities. And then you can also use the Return to the Devourer below Arkham Woods if you so choose. And I am. All right, let's take a look at these locations. She's starting at the Witch Haunted Woods Cairnstones. After any number of clues are discovered from this location, each investigator at this location loses an equal number of resources. Well, let's play some cards and get rid of that. And Diana starts at the Witch Tree. Take a direct damage and direct horror. Choose an investigator at a different Witch Haunted Woods. That investigator heals 1 damage and 1 horror. Oh, well, well, well. Delay the Inevitable. That's nice. Well, let's start with Trish. The Hawkeye folding camera into play for 2. And we'll get Mr. Rook into play for 3. He'll come into play with 3 secrets on him. And I think what we're going to do is we're just going to investigate. We're going to put the deduction in. And then we're going to use... Sorry. We're going to use Rook first. And look at the top 9 cards of the deck. Nothing. Sweet. That's pretty good. Okay. So, I think we're going to take a perception. We're just going to try and go fast. See if we can't get clues off this quickly. We'll commit the perception and the deduction to this. So we'll be at 4, 5, 6, 7 against 3. -1. You got to remember, always draw cards before, I don't think I shuffled that when I put them back, before you discover the clues. Because after you discover a clue, you can automatically evade someone if there's an enemy there. If I had drawn the shadow agents there, I would have gotten the clues afterwards and then immediately picked everything up. Now, I'd get the 2 clues off the location, and I lose 2 resources. Oh, what a coincidence, I don't have any resources. Now, looking at this ability again, it's take a direct damage and a direct horror, choose an investigator at a different Witch Haunted Woods. That investigator heals 1 damage and 1 horror. I think if she doesn't have damage and horror on her to heal, I can't trigger this. But it won't be long before she gets some, and it'll be really nice to just be able to get that Delay the Inevitable underneath me for a little bit of extra willpower. So we're going to go ahead, play that Rosary, get that into play. By the way, we're using this tool here to track how many cards are underneath her. I put it in my body slot because I don't have a body slot right now. And then we're going to draw a card. Another Steadfast. Okay, well, fortunately, I can do big tests right now if I need to. And to that end, well, let me stop myself. I was going to say I'll play the Azure Flame, but I think I need to save the money for the Dark Insight in case something happens and I just need to get something canceled desperately. So we're saving it for the Dark Insight there. Okay. We're going to take a resource, actually, because we have a lot of stuff we want to play. We have a lot of cost of cards in hand. Like, we have 10 cost worth of cards in hand. So let's get a resource in anticipation of playing some more stuff. So we get upkeep on Trish, a Money Talks, and we get upkeep on Diana, a Deny Existence. Very nice. 1 out of 8 Doom. Definitely haven't shuffled that encounter deck yet. And we'll go with Trish first. Unhallowed Land. Test 5. For each point you fail by, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If a Cursed Treachery is discarded by this effect, deal 1 direct horror to your investigator and to each of your ally assets. Okay, so I'm probably failing this. I'm definitely not committing that, so we're just 4 against 5. -1. So I have to discard the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. And for each point I fail by, I have to discard 2 more. But those are 2 separate effects. So let's go do that. We're looking for a Curse. Terror and Frozen in Fear. So that didn't go off. And then the Skull effect discards Despoiled and a Covenant Initiate. Ooh, that's a little painful. So no horror, which is thankful, I guess, for Mr. Rook. But it would have been nice to be able to definitely trigger that Delay of the Inevitable on Diana. Let's see what Diana gets. She gets a Frozen in Fear. Yeah, I don't think that we're canceling that. Would that be a waste to cancel with the Dark Insight? That seems like a bit of a waste. It's not pressuring me. I mean, I won't be clearing it for a while, I suppose, is the big thing. So maybe that could be useful to clear. Ooh, yeah, I didn't think about it that way. That's tricky. Yeah, you know what? We've got it. We need to get our willpower up a little bit. So we're going to spend 2 Dark Insight, cancel that, shuffle it back into the encounter deck. Now what that does is it puts that right there. Boom. That goes under us. We draw a card and gain a resource. Wrong hand. It was a dodge. You didn't see that. All right, we're just going to go ahead with Trish again first. We're just going to investigate 4 against 3. 1-up is like fine. There's no consequences if we fail on the -2s, -3s, -4s, and auto fails. And yeah, no, it's perfectly fine. Getting a Shadow Agents would be really bad, though. So I don't think I'm going to trigger Mr. Rook quite yet. 1-up. If this is an investigation, you may choose any revealed location you're now investigating as if you were at that location instead. Yeah, no, I think I'll just grab a clue here so that Diana doesn't have to. That's perfectly fine. Okay, we'll investigate again. 4 against 3. A 0. That's a clue off the location. And last action, we'll do 1 more investigate. Oh, by the way, when we gather a clue off our location, we do lose that resource. So yeah, 1 more clue. Another 0. Hey, look at us go. And we get our Hawkeye folding camera giving us +1 willpower. We're at 3 now. That's kind of handy. Diana. Let's take a move action. We're going to head over to this Witch Haunted Woods. Once we get the 6th Scent out, we might be able to, just grab it. When an enemy would spawn at a different Witch Haunted Woods location, spawn it at this location instead, then it makes an immediate attack against each investigator at this location. Amazing! These are the two best locations for Diana to get, I think, in terms of being able to, like, artificially trigger her cancels. That is so sick. We're going to take a resource, and we're going to just play this Azure Flame, I think. Get that into play, but more importantly, the resource lets us also get the Sixth Sense if we can start doing investigations next turn, and if not, gives us money for Delay the Inevitable and dodge. So, perfect. Upkeeps. A Magnifying Glass for Trish. That's very good. We'll be investigating at 5 for a little bit. And then Diana gets a Drawn to the Flame. Oh, man. Definitely feeling good on clues right now. 2 out of 8 Doom. Counter card for Trish is another Unhallowed Lands. Okay. Yeah, no, we're just going to test this one down again, right? +2. So we just pass it. Fine. Diana gets a Vice and Villainy. When the encounter deck runs out of cards, discard the attached asset. Attach this to a non-permanent asset you control. When it runs out, you discard the attached asset. When the attached asset leaves play, you test 3 willpower. If you fail, attach Vice and Villainy to a different non-permanent asset you control. Unfortunately, I think that's going on Holy Rosary. So we'll just put that there to try to remember. Let's go ahead with Trish first. She's going to move. Which one does she move to? Let's go here. The Witch Haunted Woods 1 Shroud. When you discover the last clue from this location, draw the topmost Hex Treachery in the encounter discard pile. If you cannot, instead discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a Hex Treachery is discarded and draw it. Okay, well, at least this is going to be easy to clear. We're going to put that Magnifying Glass into play. We're going to start and investigate with the Burning the Midnight Oil, gaining 2 resources. And we will use Mr. Rook to look at the top 9 cards of the deck. Nada. So there's a couple of options. I could get another Perception in the hand. I could grab one of these Working Hunches to get some more clues off of this a bit quicker. I could take a Cryptic Writings for a little bit more money. That's a decent option. The Magnifying Glass is no good. Manual Dexterity in hand so that I could evade someone very reliably doesn't suck. Having that for when we get to see those goat spawns does not suck. But ultimately, I think that I'm just going to go ahead and take that Manual Dexterity, like I said. That seems quite good. We'll put them back. 5 against 1. That's a clue. 5 against 1. That's a clue. We are just rocketing through these clues right now. Diana. Let's see what we can do here. Do we just play the Drawn to the Flame? I think we might just play the Drawn to the Flame. Let's just play the Drawn to the Flame. Draw the top card of the encounter deck. Trespasser! Test 2. This test gets +1 difficulty for each non-weakness treachery in your threat area. If you fail, take 2 damage or 2 horror. Interesting. Okay, so what we're going to do is play this during our turn. Attach it to an investigator at your location. Ba-dum! Right there. And we're going to be testing 3 against 2. +1 difficulty for each non-weakness treachery. 3 against 3, excuse me. I'd like to fail this, is the problem. -4. Hey, look, I failed it. I can take 2 damage or 2 horror, but what I'll do instead is cancel it. Drawing a card, gaining a resource. Thanks, Trespasser. And then we get the 2 clues off the location. We are looking pretty hot right now. We've got 2 VPs secured. We're almost at a 3rd and a 4th. And we're on, like, turn 3? Wow. Okay, well, we're just going to move back to that other location. Look, there's a whole lot of point of standing around there when we can eventually take some damage to heal her if we need to and trigger some more cancels. And then I think, once again, we're just going to take a resource. Again, still got a lot of stuff to play. I don't need the Sixth Sense quite yet. But being able to play the dodge, the initiate, it's going to be good stuff. Okay, upkeep for Trish. A Nimble, very nice. And upkeep for Diana. Emergency cash. Make me feel a bit silly for taking all those resources, but it is what it is. 3 out of 8 Doom. Hey, everybody. Check this shit out that I've been completely forgetting about. Diana has +1 willpower constantly. So does Trish. So, if there's any rules errors I've made up to this point, it would be willpower tests, primarily. I'm going to lock that, put it in the center of the screen. Hopefully I won't keep forgetting about it. Alright, counter card for Trish. Is this a joke? It's all she's drawn. It's fine. My question is, like, do I want to pass this? Like, should I just pass this? Should I toss a manual dex and a nimble into this to pass it? Nah, that's a waste. That would be a huge waste. This doesn't hurt me, really. Although, you know, the tablet would suck. You know, drawing the bottommost treachery in the encounter discard pile, that would suck. But I don't know. I'm not that scared of it. It's not. We're doing fine. We're doing great. Actually, I'd say we're doing pretty good. So 4 against 5. Another -1. So I discard 2 from this first for the curses. An omen and an omen. Nothing. And then the 2 skulls are despoiled and a covenant initiate. Ooh, that tough witch is going to be annoying shortly. But yeah, no, it continues to do nothing really. And then Diana gets another trespasser. So let's not forget our +1 willpower on this one. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 willpower. And we're actually going to spawn this willpower tracker to help me keep track of it a little bit. This is useful, but it's more about very easily stacking these and getting them back if I need them. Anyways, we're at 5 against 3. And again, I'm happy to just take that. -3. So 5 against 3. That is a failure. I can take 2 damage or 2 horror. Now, personally, I would like to deny existence that, but that leaves me open my weakness pretty bad. On the other hand, I have not taken any damage, and if my weakness hits me now, it's not actually damaging me that much. So I'm going to choose to take the damage, and then I'm going to deny existence, drawing a card, and gaining a resource, bringing me up to 6 willpower. That's gone. And by 6, I of course mean 5, because the +1 was just from the Hierophant. Okay, board state's looking good, still very under control. Trish, let's keep it going. We're investigating 5 against 1. +1, that's a clue. We're going to go ahead and, for 2 resources, play the Lucky Cigarette case. Let me fix my camera quickly. And then last action, we're going to investigate 5 against 1. When we get this, we're going to get that topmost hex in the encounter discard pile. And the topmost hex is despoiled. So, be a little careful. We're going to investigate 5 against 1. We're going to use Rook. We're just going to use Rook. Let's do that. I'm going to pull 9 again. I'm just doing it. I'm going for it. He's still not here. He doesn't exist, guys. He's not real. The shadow agents can't hurt you. Okay. Let's just pull into the shadows into my hand, so I got that backup for them. I mean, the reason I'm burning Rook so hard is to get rid of him out of my deck, so I can play a bit more willy-nilly, right? That's the point of him. But anyways, it's not to be. We have a tremendous amount of evasion stuff going on. 5 against 1. -4. Successful. Don't get the draw card. Do get the clue. And then we get that spoiled into our threat area. After you succeed at a skill test during your turn, increase the difficulty of each subsequent test you perform this turn by 1. Test 3. If you succeed, discard despoiled. If there is an exhausted witch enemy at your location, this test is automatically successful. I have an additional +1 to my intellect from having gathered that last clue there. I do not have... do I have 9 clues? That said 8 a second ago, I think. A little worried about that. Okay, Diana Stanley. We're going to go ahead and play the Sixth Sense. 1, 2, 3... the Sixth Sense. Do we do the investigate here? I think we just do the investigate. And I think that I... do I toss the steadfast into it? To be a bit more sure? I am only 1 up right now, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But again, 1 up with spare actions at this pace. I'm okay with it. A 0 anyways, right? We get that clue. I'm going to pay for this later. Look at this. I'm paying for this. I'm absolutely paying for this. Last action. I'm just going to play an emergency cache. Could be useful to have resources later. If this Holy Rosary eats it from the Vice Villainy, well, it will eventually. But once this is gone, I'm going to want to play another one. And if I decide to kill an ant, I might need to just like play another Azure Flame or something wacky. It's looking a bit more likely that Trish will just like clear all the clues or something while I tank her. Maybe that's a bit more likely. Anyways, upkeep for Trish. Intel report, not bad. Upkeep for Diana. Emergency cache. Kind of don't need that. And at the end of the round, we're going to spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. It's 4 to advance here. Each investigator must randomly choose one of the set-aside Arkham Woods locations, put it in play in front of him or her, and immediately move there. Can't be cancelled. Each investigator spawns a set-aside goat spawn in his or her location. And we each test either 3 agility or 3 willpower. Each investigator who succeeds exhausts that enemy and disengages from it. Shuffle one of the set-aside copies of Demonic Piping into the encounter deck and place the other 2 copies in the encounter discard pile. Alright, here's where the locations go. Let's see what we get. Trish gets Bootlegging Operation. After you successfully investigate this location, discard a card from the top of the encounter deck for each point you succeeded by. When the encounter deck runs out of cards, each investigator at this location takes 2 damage. Well, fortunately, we don't need those clues. And Diana gets the Hidden Path. During the enemy attack step of the enemy phase, instead of their standard attack, each ready which enemy at this location attacks each investigator in play. Attacks made this way do not cause the enemy to exhaust. Disgusting. Disgusting. So if she happens to get one of the witches on her, she pretty much has to kill it. Now let's do those willpower and agility tests. Trish has not... Okay, this turn. So that's not going on right now. So she's 4 against 3. We're going to put in that manual dexterity. And we might even put in the nimble. Just to get the fuck out of there. Right? Yeah. Yeah, because that'll put us at like 4, 5, 6, 7 against 3. And give me pretty decent odds of like getting the fuck out of here. -1. So we succeed by 3. So he's exhausted. I draw a card from manual dexterity. And I get to make 3 moves from nimble. Which we don't really need to make 3 moves, so he's exhausted there. And I get to go like 1, 2, or I get to just go like 1 if I want to. After any number of clues are discovered, each investigator at this location must discard an equal number of cards at random from his or her hand. Ugh, gross. So the nice thing about this is that I might be able to pick these off with working on hunches. Oh no, but this is still when they're discovered. So I wonder if there's any possibility of Diana getting these with Sixth Sense. It's pretty low odds, isn't it? Yeah, because there's... Yeah, no, that's not likely. The nice thing about this is it says each investigator at this location must discard an equal number of cards at random from his or her hand. Oh no, but she'd be as if she was at that location, wouldn't she? Yeah, so I think it just doesn't work. We'll have to be eating a lot of discards, and that's not something I like to do with these decks. Anyways, back to Diana. She's at 5 against 3. We'll just go ahead and toss a Steadfast into that, I think, to be like 9 against 3. And he's exhausted too. So, cool. Okay, that's the end of the round. We will get to advance to this soon, so that we can walk into each other's locations. But first, we get a Doom, and we get more encounter cards. Frozen in Fear on Trish, that's a bit of a bummer. And then Diana gets an Impending Evils. You must either take 1 damage and 1 horror, or put this into play next to the agenda deck, and it gains Surge. If there are 3 copies of Impending Evils next to the agenda deck, discard them and advance the current agenda. Me taking a damage and a horror for sure. And that gets discarded. Now, how happy am I to just straight up lose my hand? Not particularly. But it looks like that's going to be what's happening with this. So, let's go ahead and get the investigate done first with the perception, I guess. Because I can kind of just like pick off the rest of the clues if I need to. I am at 6, 7, 8 against 4. So let's go ahead and get that done. A 0. Cool. So I do succeed by 2. But let's check the timing after any number of clues are discovered. So that's not till step 7 when I get the clue. Trigger Lucky Cigarette Case. That's a card draw. Trigger Perception. That's a card draw. Get a clue. Lose a card at random. And then this is making my difficulties 1 higher. So let's lose a card at random. There's a shuffle. I'll do another shuffle just for good measure, and this one gets discarded. It is Money Talks. Good. Money Talks is not going to be useful for me in this scenario. But now, this is a what? Is it one more difficulty? Yeah, so now I'm 6 against 5, and that's a little bit scarier. I can get to 7 against 5. Not great. I could commit this to be 9 against 5, but I would most assuredly lose my Crack the Case and my In the Shadows. There's basically no chance that won't happen. So, can I afford to just keep going fast? Oh, yes. No, let's spend 2 clues to advance that act really quickly. Yeah? Because, why would we not want to be connected? For the remainder of the location, investigators may now enter locations in front of other investigators. So, cool. We now officially have a really wacky-looking pentagram with the Hierophant in the center. Oh, yeah. No, I forgot to take the clue off that location up here. And we have that 6 clue requirement now, which we do have. We have 7. But I'd really like to get this last victory point. And maybe deal with these guys as well before they start coming and harassing us. So I think I am going to go ahead and do what I said, and I'll get that last clue next turn. So we'll do the deduction with the intel report committed to it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 against 5 this time. Oh, there's the auto fail. That was bound to happen. We've been going really fast. And I think we're just going to go ahead and... Ooh, what do we do last? That's tricky, isn't it? I think we'll just go ahead and do 6 against 5. 6 against 5 is still decent odds. -1. So there's that last clue that I wanted. Discard one of these at random. Ace of Rods? Yeah, baby! Let's go get that off the location, too. But then, unfortunately, at the end of your turn, you have to test 3 willpower. Fortunately, this is like... that you perform this turn. And this is at the end of your turn. And the end of your turn is no longer your turn. So I am testing back at my base difficulty instead of +2 difficulty. So I'm 3 against 3 is what I'm really getting at. A 0. Thanks, Hawkeye Folding Camera. You're the man. All right, I think Diana's going to try and get rid of this guy. So she's going to be testing 5 against 3. Seems okay. 0. Do take a damage off that. Bit of a bummer. But he's got 2 damage on him now. And then I think for this one, I'm going to just test it again. Maybe we punch him at like 6 against 3. Yeah, we're going to punch him with a Steadfast. I don't really want to waste my charges on this. I don't have another copy. 6 against 3. Ooh, the -4. That's a bummer. Okay. And we'll just do 5 against 3 again. A 0. That's another damage on me, but he is dead. And killing him also gives me a horror. Okay, upkeep for Trish. Mr. Rook, second copy. And upkeep for Diana. A Guts. 5 out of 8 Doom. And encounter cards. A Rotting Remains. Okay. Good time for that. 3 against 3. Gotta keep passing them. And then for Diana, a Covenant Initiate. Oh no, discard the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. If this causes the encounter deck to run out, draw the topmost hex card. 1, 2. Jeez Louise, this has been such a weirdly stacked deck. Alright, let's start with Trish. Try and get these clues off. 6 against 4. Give that a go. -2, so that's 1 clue. And we get +1 difficulty from here on out. We also have to discard a card. Ooh, in the shadows. Not nice. Not nice one bit. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Okay, we'll try again. 6 against 5 this time. -2, that's a failure. And we will try one more time. 6 against 5. -1. There we go. So we get the... That's going to come off at the end of our turn. We're going to get the last clue, which is going to get that. And we're going to have to discard a card from the hand, which is going to be Mr. Rook. So I can play this Crack the Case to get 4 resources if I want it. Now, that being said, does 4 resources help me much? Not particularly. Took a +1 sanity. It's kind of nice. All right, all of the VP has been cleared off the locations. We're ready to go get started on the Witch. But Diana does need to fight this Coven Initiate. She's fighting 6 against 2 because of the +1 on her first willpower test of the round. A 0. Another fucking damage. Please stop. I would appreciate to stop. Let's draw a card. And let's play this Twilight Blade so that we can pull some cancels back out if we need to. Probably that delay the inevitable would be really nice to pull out if we could. Okay, this guy's going to hunt to Trish. We pop right there, and he's going to toss a damage directly onto Mr. Rook. Just one. Upkeep. The other Hawkeye folding camera. Not super needed. And a Drawn to the Flame. Also not particularly needed, but we might be looking at... we might be looking at getting the clues off the location, and so this will help, for sure. So the question, or a question, maybe not the question, but a question is definitely, do I want to advance now? Excuse me. And I think I want to advance next turn instead. So we're going to wait. 6 out of 8 Doom. And encounter cards. First is a Maligned. Increase the cost of each card you play by 1. Not getting rid of that anytime soon. And for Diana, the Priestess of the Coven. That is a bummer. +1 evade, +1 fight for each witch enemy in the encounter discard pile to a maximum of +3 and +3. So she is sitting on a very, very hefty stat pool right now. So we're going to start with Diana to see if we can kill this Priestess of the Coven, I think. So she's at 6 for her first attack against 5. I could use the Twilight Blade to attack once for 1 damage. If I fail, I can put the dodge under me so that I'm at 6 for the rest of the attacks for the turn. And I think I like that. So I'm going to use the Twilight Blade, first action, to attack 6 against 5 for 1 damage. -2. Okay. So she retaliates because I miss. I spend 1 for a dodge. That goes up to 6. I get a card and a resource. And now I can test the Azure Flame 6 against 5, 7, 8 against 5. Let's go 9 against 5. -1. That's 2 damage. And heal the Horror. And draw a card from the guts. And then I need to fight this one more time. Can I do a 6 against 5 last action with the Twilight Blade? I kind of feel like I can't afford that. So we're going to go 7, 8 against 5. No, we're going to go 7, 8 against 5. We're going to keep that Rosary in case this gets bounced. That would kind of suck. No, Drawn to the Flame gets me out of the finale a bit quicker. So 8 against 5. You know what? 9 against 5. I can't miss this. Okay, she's toast. Glad we've gotten rid of her. Let's clean that up. Cool. Thank you, Diana. Trish, what are you doing? Honey. Girl. Baby girl. 2 up evade. -1. He's evaded at the location. My tests are +1 difficulty for the turn. Now, the question is, where does she want to stand before she walks into the Witch's Circle? And I think it's just going to be, like, here, maybe? And we're going to take a direct damage and horror to heal Diana up a little bit. Reason being, her health is out of control, and if I need to deal more damage to people, this Azure Flame needs to be able to not kill me. So, let's do that. And then last action, she's just going to... Ooh, dear. What do I do with her last action? That is really painful, isn't it? I don't want to draw, because if I draw the Shadow Agents, that sucks. So we're just going to take a resource. As much as that is not super useful. But whatever. Okay, so we get an upkeep with Trish. Crack the case, fine. An upkeep with Diana. Another Guts. Pretty good. We're on the Witching Hour. Oh, no, actually, we're going to advance. We'll advance at the start of next turn. That's fine. So we're on the Witching Hour, 7 out of 8. Counter card for Trish is Doesn't have voices, can't play events or assets. It's fine. And for Diana is Demonic Piping. Surge. If it's in play, deal 1 horror to each investigator at its location and each. Otherwise, you put 3 of them. Sorry, otherwise you put this next to the agenda deck. Once there's 3 copies, you discard them and spawn the Piper, engaged with its prey from any out-of-play area. But this is just going to be doing nothing, going up to the agenda and surging. So let's see what we get. Another Vice and Villainy. That's kind of scary. Yeah, we'll toss that on the Azure Flame. Let's rearrange the board so we don't totally screw ourselves on understanding what's attached to what. But I think we're pretty safe against these shortly. So hopefully not a huge threat. So we're going to go ahead and spend the 6 clues. Well, let's leave 1 there and we'll put the other 6 away. That'll be how we do that. To advance the act. So we get the Witch's Circle into play. Let's fix that. So we put the circle into play in the center, in front of none of the investigators. The elite investigator spawns the set aside and net mason at the Witch's Circle. So she's also there. She's a 4/8/4. Retaliate after the enemy phase begins. Discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. Spawn each witch enemy discarded by this effect at her location. If no witch enemies are discarded by this effect, you ready her. So she's going to be dealing decent chunks of damage to us. But we've got a lot of health on Trish, and she might just like grab the clues and take some attacks of opportunity. And since there's an enemy at her location, she'll be grabbing them a bit quicker, which is kind of cool. But also, we have both acts, right? If and that's defeated, we advance. If there's no clues, we advance. And also, if there are more than 2 per investigator exhausted witch enemies at the Witch's Circle, investigators at the Witch's Circle may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance, which is 2 per investigator. But that has to be done during the turn, not after attacks. Some people have that misconception. But anyways, we're not going to be going for that. We've killed all the witches, and I don't have time to diddle around until that happens. So we're going to be trying to clear the clues. Okay, well, we're going to go with Diana first. She's going to move twice. Once here, and that's going to engage her. And then she's going to go ahead and use the Twilight Blade to play or commit something from underneath her as if it were in her hand. She's going to play this, Delay the Inevitable, as if it were in her hand. And you cannot trigger her reaction ability while playing or committing the card. I play it, it goes into my play area, and I'm done playing the card. So now when I trigger the reaction, I can use this ability. So that's me doing that once. I don't think there's any limits on how many times you're allowed to do this. I don't see one here. And so I'm going to... that'll lose me 1 willpower. I'm also going to go ahead and play this Drawn to the Flame, which is going to trigger an attack of opportunity, at which point I will play a dodge for 1, canceling the attack. Lowering that again. But I do draw the top card of the encounter deck. I'm aligned. Increase the cost of each card you play, and then grab 2 clues from the location. Looking pretty good. Trish is going to move in. She's going to investigate 4, 5, 6 against 3. Let's go... Yeah, 6 against 3 is pretty good. Oh, baby. +2. So we get the Lucky Cigarette case draw. Magnifying glass, fine. And then, because of her reaction, after we discover 1 or more clues at a location with an enemy, we discover 1 additional clue, or we automatically evade an enemy. We're going to get the extra clue, I think. Because we're going to be canceling that damage with Diana. Next test is 1 harder. And then we're going to investigate 4, 5, 6, 7 against... let's go 8 against a difficulty of 4. -2. That's another clue off the location. We got 1 clue left. The goat spawn's going to hunt into the location. On to Trish. It's 1 damage to Trish, right to the face. That's fine. I did forget to do the enemy phase beginning thing. Move each ready unengaged witch once towards the Witch's Circle. Doesn't happen. And then, after the enemy's phase begins, we also discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. 1. Uh-oh. Just the 1. That's not good. When the encounter deck runs out of cards, we discard this Azure Flame. And we have to test 4 against 3. Let's put the guts into it to be 6 against 3. Elder Sign. You may choose a card beneath Diana and add it to your hand. Yeah, we'll add that to our hand. Draw a card. That one's gone. And then this one is going to be a 3 against 3, which, I mean, I'm gonna fail, right? -4. My Holy Rosary is gone. Oh, it was actually 2 against 3 because that was already discarded. And we'll attach that one to our Sixth Sense. But after all that, she readies, and then she hits me for 1/1, and my Delay the Inevitable triggers. I draw a card and gain a resource, and take no damage from her. Upkeep on Trish. Lab Assistant. Cool. Upkeep on Diana. Ward of Protection. Very nice. We do advance. We just discard all but the last... Oh, this also shuffled after all that, right? Discard all but the last 5 cards in the encounter deck. The investigator with the most cards in his or her play area must draw the topmost witch enemy in the encounter discard pile. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm just going to flip this over. Which is not technically the correct way to do it, but a shuffle deck's a shuffle deck. The investigator with the most cards in his or her play area must draw the topmost witch enemy in the encounter discard pile. So let's look for that. Oh no, it's the Priestess of the Coven. That's not good. Who's that go to? Let's see. Well, it looks like Trish has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Diana's only got 2, so it's going to Trish. Also, I forgot to get rid of that Dissonant Voices, but that is gone. And just as a point of reference, all of those Coven Initiates are in here, so she's the big scary Priestess of the Coven. Alright, so that's done. We're at 12. Sorry, we're at 1 out of 12, because we have that upturned agenda. My god. That upturned tarot card for Trish. At the end of the round, place a doom on this agenda for each witch enemy at the witch's circle. Let's get into the encounter cards. First is a big Despoiled for Trish. Not a big deal. Second is a big Frozen in Fear for Diana. Kind of a big deal? Not sure. It's a tricky one. Anyways, what we're going to do is, I think Diana's going to waste her turn engaging these enemies, taking a couple of hits off of it. So she's going to first take an engage action, which triggers an attack of opportunity, and she'll play a Deny Existence to be, she is up at 4 to gain a resource and draw a card, which means she takes 1 horror from that attack from Annette. But she's going to take the Priestess of the Coven off of Trish. And they both have Retaliate. Also, the cost of the card was increased by 1 from this Maligned. Forgot about that. And so, like, what does she do with the rest of her turn? You might ask. She passes it. Over on Trish, she's just going to take some investigates through this goat spawn. So he's going to hit her for 1, killing off Rook. Should be at 4, 5, 6, 7 against 3. -1. That's the last clue. Last clue off the Witch's Circle, as I said. And the circle is unbroken. Sorry. The unbroken circle is broken. There's no clues in the Witch's Circle. We advance. A loud crack echoes throughout the woods as you break the circle and reverse the witch's spell. No, they have broken the ritual. One of the witches screams comically as the spell's energy backfires. White-hot lightning strikes the center of the field, sending dirt and debris flying in every direction. You duck for cover. And that's R2. So we record the witch's spell was broken. We get some mementos and a bonus XP. We get XP. Our VP is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 from that bonus XP. So we just go to the next scenario. And so I'll see you next week. Thanks very much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time.